let me say thank you for coming over here to talk to me. I actually enjoyed the show because it was something a little different. So, we were just chatting before I hit the record button. You said you stay out of the comments, you stay out of the reviews and all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because now it's 2 years later. Is that weird that you're having a conversation from 2 years ago?
Uh, honestly, the only thing that makes it weird is I didn't even think the show was still going to even come out for
Yeah.
real. I absolutely, I was like, okay, what's not happening, whatever. But well, I think the weirder thing is watching myself on TV. It's not strange for me to see myself on TV, but the editing. This is the first time I've been on there and have no creative control over what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So
I mean, kudos to y'all that want to be out there doing that. I don't think my skin is thick enough. I think I'm just staying here where I have all the control. Um, Let me start with where are you from, Aaron?
I'm originally from Chicago. That's where I spent pretty much all my life as a minor. I came to Atlanta after the fact.
How old were you when you came to Atlanta?
18, like fully grown.
Okay, so you was grown and you went to the ATL. See, I did the same thing. I went to college
What?
in Atlanta, and so
Mm.
yeah, I know about that city. I don't know about Chicago, but I'm from the Midwest, so I know the vibe of
But
Chicago.
hold on. Where you from in the Midwest though?
Flint.
Oh, okay, Michigan. I used to go to Michigan every summer, actually.
Yeah, yeah. See,
Yeah,
I
that was
feel
our
like we
summer
did a
trip.
lot of that. You would go travel to Ohio and to Chicago to see cousins and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. So I know what that lifestyle is like. So what made you go to Atlanta though?
A lot of things. So I was in pursuit of music for
Mhm.
sure. Entertainment in general, but definitely music primarily. Clark Atlanta seemed like a really dope idea. I had a presidential scholarship. Um,
Nice. So
Wanted to
you
play
went to
with that
Clark. You
song.
was down in the AU Center?
Oh, for sure.
Oh
I
my
wanted.
goodness.
I had a scholarship from Morehouse apparently, but I
Mhm.
wasn't trying to hear none of that because I heard it was an all boys school, and they said Spelman was across the street, but I didn't. I had never been to ATL. And, black people be exaggerating. Maybe like it's across the street, and
It
maybe through the
is though.
forest,
It is though.
past grandma house, back past the Big Bad Wolf. It's not even across the street. They all the same campus, right?
It's
Really
all
though,
right there. Yeah,
all right
yeah.
there. But yeah, all that,
So see, when
and
I was down in the AU Center, that was like in the 90s when Freaknik was a real thing and all of that. So I don't
man,
know what
bring
it
it
looks
back.
like now, but yeah. So Clark, what did you study at Clark?
I studied business in Clark, business
Okay.
marketing actually.
Nice.
Yeah, people usually everyone who went there who wasn't in the business school had no idea that was my major because I was so heavily involved in campus with media related activities. But yeah, I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, let me get something pragmatic.
Yeah, but I mean, you need the business. I feel like everybody that
You
wants to have
do
a business don't have the business part. That part's, very important.
literally.
So what did you think of Atlanta? Like, you didn't go as a kid. You adult. You went to Clark. You was wilding out. What was that like? What was the college life like over there?
I was excited because I've calmed down somewhat now, but 18-year-old Aaron, extremely girl crazy. So like, I think it was what like three girls for every guy at Clark.
Yeah,
Man,
that's why I left Atlanta because the odds wasn't in my favor.
yeah, nah, for real. Looking for a little guy before the age of 25 down here. I mean, you might, because actually, no, the odds are worse because there's only so many heterosexual guys here too. Yeah, never mind.
I don't think it's any worse. I just think the conversation is a lot more open than it used to be. You know what I'm saying? Back then, people was
You,
not saying what it is. So, it's a different vision, I suppose, for some people, not for everybody, but
yeah, but I was
Atlanta
only
though,
wilding for like a semester though because the rest of college and most of adulthood, right before the show, actually, like 18 to 26, I was in a relationship actually.
okay.
Yeah,
How
Chris
was
wasn't the
that?
only one.
That's a
It
young
was.
that's a young age to be in a relationship. So is that your son's mom that
It
you were in
is.
a
Yeah.
relationship? Okay.
Yeah.
So how long was that relationship?
8 years.
That's your whole that's yeah, from that's like,
That
how
was
old
my whole adulthood. Yeah. So Jody would be the first person, or it's really second, really that I would have dated
yeah.
right after that.
So why? Because you were just giving me all these odds. It's like 3 women to every 1 man and everything over there. So why online then? Why online to start dating somebody that lives in Chicago?
Mm, it's a good question. Um, I don't think there was a particular rhyme or reason why I decided online. Like, I don't know if you know, but when you have the age of social media, you'll see a bunch of attractive people like on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever. And it's like, okay, I might like a picture. Oh, you like the picture back? Oh, what's up? And
And it
just see
turns
where it
into a
goes.
conversation.
Yeah, it just turns into
So where
something.
y'all
It's
met
not
on Instagram, on where did y'all meet online?
primarily Facebook. And
Facebook.
then we added each other on everything else. So I have her on Instagram, I have her on Twitter, I have her on Snap because we was talking
I thought
heavy.
y'all
But
said Facebook was for the old people. Now what was y'all doing on
who said
Facebook?
that? Who? Okay, so check it out. Check it out. It's regional because actually, right before my son was born, I had to spend like almost a whole summer in Chicago, like literally the summer before he popped out. And I was also of the impression that Facebook was for older individuals. But I was there and I was hitting like a bunch of open mics and networking. Everybody in Chicago was like, add me on Facebook, add me on Facebook. I was like, okay. So yeah, no, it depends on where you at, I guess.
Where you at? I mean, I guess you kind of got to be everywhere. So
Yeah.
y'all developed a relationship. I think also like now we talking to each other. I think you can get a connection. I feel like when you're not just on the phone, you can see each other's expressions, and I can
Mm-hmm.
see where it could be a thing. But y'all don't live like in the same state.
What's that stopping?
I mean, so then what is, I guess I go into things if you, like you said, you've been in a relationship for 8 years. So
Mm-hmm.
then you go into the next thing looking for a relationship. Like, was you out here doing your Playboy thing
It's a
at
great
any point?
question. Um, I was for a bit. I was when I first started talking to Jody and we was chopping up on social media. Like she wasn't the only girl I was talking to. I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only guy she was talking to. Like I was definitely playing the field, trying to see what's up, seeing if what I'm saying. Do I want to be monogamous again? Do I want to be out and see what these streets talking about, or at least like dip my toe on the sidewalk or something? But then
Fine.
as things progressed, it more so just talked to me, just talking to her, or it turned into rather
What's your sign, Aaron?
Aries.
Huh. Well, I don't really know a whole lot about Aries. I don't.
Don't get me wrong. I have
A
very
little bit I know. That's, not a whole lot.
fire signs. We be turning up. We have fun. Every Aries I know is definitely over flirtatious for sure.
I feel like Aries are also very serious too.
I don't take anything serious.
You don't?
I
Hmm.
take my business seriously and I take raising my son seriously. But like if you converse with me on a regular basis, you're like, damn, is everything a joke to you? So nah.
Okay, so after you graduated from Clark, where did the music come into play?
Oh,
Because
I
you
think I'm in
said,
my
okay, you graduated from school, you went straight into a relationship.
oh yeah, graduated from high school. So yeah, I was in a relationship, like not straight. Like the first semester I was doing me. I just knew I was gonna be out here. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And it just fell into it. But I was doing music on campus. Like I was campus famous, low key. That sounds like really cringy
No,
to
no,
say,
but
but
I
a lot
feel
of
like that's how it starts though. Like I feel like people that are serious about the music industry, that's where it starts. Like, in school and
yeah.
you know.
So like
So
freshman year, you didn't see too much of me, but like sophomore, junior, senior year, I'm on every stage. I'm performing everywhere. I'm at everybody like knows who I am. I'm walking up campus with my the mother of my son, and it's oh snap, there's Aaron and the baby and Aaron's girlfriend. That was her name. So a lot of it was
so
Aaron's
y'all were
girlfriend.
together while you were in school then.
Yeah, the whole time,
Okay.
except for the first semester.
So you didn't, that's nothing. The first semester, then you got there and then you got linked up. So I mean, but that's the you're that kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? I think maybe some people like being out in the streets. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's fun. Like,
The
after a
streets is
while,
fun. It's
the streets are
everything in
not fun.
moderation.
Streets are not fun.
You
You don't be
just
in the
gotta.
street. Are you in? Well, I can't. I won't ask you nothing about the streets like right now.
You just got to know the back ways and the alleys and the shortcuts for the
Ain't
smooth
no
parts of the
short
road.
these streets. The streets be talking.
They do.
So describe your music style.
Music style. Honestly, one of the things that's probably been holding me back is it's extremely diverse. I rap and I sing. I dabble in different subgenres of rap. I do like to have some substance. I have a lot of wordplay, but I would say if I were going off of my most successful songs, according to like the people,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm most loved when there's a sort of melodic rhythm to my music. I have this song called Lit. No matter where I perform it,
I
no matter
did
who
like
hears
that
it.
one. I'm gonna go ahead and say I
Yeah.
listened to that one. I like that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's like the fan favorite. Like that's the undeniable one for people. So I'm actually writing an EP of songs that sound like that right now. But
I mean, but
that
like you
song is
were saying
probably
before, I feel like, the music industry is got a lot going on. We won't talk about any of that, but
you ain't
y'all
lying.
got so many different avenues and ways to like put your own music out. I feel like at this point right now, it might be like what do you call it? A fork in the road, maybe like a crossroads where y'all figure out something else where you can get your money and get yourself out there without, people all up in your videos dancing.
Loki, it's turned into that now though, because mic drop videos are the thing. Like everybody has a mic drop. You can do that by yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
So that's
personally, I
where
like
you,
having people in my videos,
I
but
don't
also
know.
the
Like
mic.
I feel like I catch it on Spotify. That's where I catch it at. But I know y'all be like up on some things that I don't necessarily know about. Um, who is your favorite artist? Like, who would you say you? I don't want to say influence, but I think we all influenced by things that we like.
Can I say two?
Yeah, yeah,
So Drake and J. Cole probably influenced me the most.
yeah. Okay, I asked the question, so I gotta accept the
Okay,
answer.
okay. So I gotta let me expand upon that. So the reason I love Drake is because
Love
for
though, you love Drake though.
his music, I don't know him personally. I don't
Okay,
know
no,
Aubrey,
but that's what I mean, duh. Okay.
but the songs that do like actually like hit for me, they're songs where he's expressing something that almost everyone can relate to, or it's songs that like it's like, damn, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And it's the writing style itself
I
of being
never
able to
think that
express
when I
that.
hear Drake. I never think that's exactly what I'm thinking. Let's
What's a
talk
good
about
one?
J. Cole. I feel more comfortable in that conversation.
J. Cole is a similar thing. I actually like them for the same reason. While Drake would say something I relate to, J. Cole would say what exactly something I just went through, as if he was living my
Okay.
life. And it's like, what?
So let me put it in perspective. You're saying like real versus fake. Is that how we're putting it? That's how I heard it.
I mean, low key, like I wouldn't say Drake is fake. I'm saying like in general, what makes me prefer J. Cole over other artists though is definitely like they said something real, like he'll describe an exact situation of verse, and it'd be like something I just did today. Like, bro, what?
Okay.
Where are the
Okay.
cameras?
So let me see. Let me see. You said you like wordplay.
Mm-hmm.
Something like, good thing you do yoga because you really could get folded quick.
Some exactly like that.
I
Actually, who
like
wrote
that.
that?
I like
That's
that.
give him a Grammy. Who wrote that?
I was that you? That was very
that was,
dope. I like that. I like that. I mean, yeah. You said you slightly toxic and you know it.
a little bit. I think everybody is a balance of the different energies that exist. And the same way you can be a great person, you have to acknowledge that you have negative traits. Nobody's perfect.
Okay.
So in that regard, I know that when someone's dealing with me, okay, I have this issue, and this issue. If those push your boundaries, you may not want to be around me because honestly, I am kind of at an age where I kind of love who I am to an extent. So there are certain things I'm willing to work on. I'm actually really willing to grow, but there's other things where it's like I enjoy this part of myself.
Now, I like that. I like that you said that. So, did you feel that same way? Because again, this is 2 years ago. Like
Mm-hmm.
this whole thing that how we met, Aaron.
Yeah.
So, how different are you? Did you feel the same way then as you do now?
In what regard?
Well, you said you love who you are right now.
Oh, I mean, I loved who I was then. I didn't completely love the way the experience went. I didn't hate it either. But yeah, the same person. I'm not the exact same person. I think being in that house was a great benchmark for me to see how far I'd come. Because there were a lot of things that I used to argue about in my old relationship and before that relationship. And there were certain levels of emotional intelligence and interactions that I had noticed within myself while I was there. It was like, damn, I did come kind of far with this.
I mean, and it's not even like just the relationship necessarily with you and Jody. You had to go like over there to California, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what comes first, the date or the house? Going to the house.
Oh, which the day is first. The same way they
The
showed
date
us
was
how it went.
first.
Yeah.
So did you know that there were going to be other people there? Like how much did you know before you got there? I'm going over there and I'm going to stay
Mm.
for, or
That's an
you
excellent
just
question.
say what
So here's
now?
the thing. That's an excellent question. Because the thing is, I knew I'd be in the house with Jody. That's all that was confirmed.
Okay.
However, I made an inference that okay, there's probably going to be other couples here, and we're probably going to be in the same house. Like I was thinking of like every scenario. I try to be very strategic. That's why like they didn't. I was playing chess like in what episode 2, but I think a lot of things out. So I figured there'd be a bunch of other couples there. I
You're
also
playing chess episode 2.
yeah, like this episode. It's real brief. It's real brief. It's me and older Aaron playing chess. I think Greg made a joke like they're battling for the rights to the name Aaron or something like that. But yeah, I thought because right before we went in there, we had to stay in the hotel while they was getting the house ready. It was just like a day or two.
Okay. That's what I was like. So you're not like just hanging out, like waiting on. So you get there and you go straight to the date, right?
Yeah.
You said first thing out your mouth when you saw Jody for the first time, you felt intoxicated. It was
Yeah.
intoxicating. So explain that to me.
I mean, first of all, I was like, oh, she's really here in person. But then it was like, she kind of cute. Oh.
So everything was lining up in your head the way you had imagined. That's a big thing to like meet somebody in person and then feel their energy.
Yeah, because like I've actually made friends on social media that I've met in person after the fact, or even like Jody wasn't my first time meeting somebody whose DMs I slid into, but it was like everybody
Right.
doesn't always look exactly like that, or some people may be a disappointment of sorts. It just wasn't
Well,
that.
that's what the people said when they got over there, and they said the people was a disappointment, and then they took it back.
It wasn't hidden for me. You look at somebody's body on pictures, and then sometimes it's not given the same in person. It wasn't. It wasn't proportion how I thought it would be.
I think on some level everybody's disappointed in something, but at least let the physical appearance match.
Some people said, I'm not going to say which people, but they did say that the things, were not aligning. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about you. And, so things were lining up. But I guess the odd thing is when you talk about physically, yes, y'all have been talking, yes. The way things were cut, like for us to see, though, she was feeling always something completely opposite than what you were saying you were feeling. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't know if my camera keeps going out. My sister was trying to call me. That sounds bad, but I promise you, my sister and I are really close. She's not calling about anything. But how did that? All right. So here's the thing. Here's my thing. One, I didn't want the day to be outside, but things happened. I was gonna roll with the punches. Two, she hates being outside. That said, the part of the date that I loved the most was probably the dancing. Because even though I did fumble a little bit, actually, when we did get into dancing, there was definitely moments where we were kind of like talking to each other, a little bit of banter. Both of us are like laughing and shit like that. Like
so we
it
just
was a
didn't
nice
see
little
the
moment.
positive parts of what was going on.
Yeah, like granted, her having to help me go over the steps, not my best moment, but it was actually a nice little moment for her.
See,
The
I
part where we
thought
had to.
everything was right about the date. That's what I didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Mm-hmm.
with the wine, I don't really expect a person that doesn't drink wine to know how to open it. I don't think that's a big deal.
I didn't even know the wine was gonna be there till I got there. I was
See,
gonna
this
fake it
was
till I
like
made it
really
though.
your plan. Plan.
It was like I had a plan. Certain things got in the way of the plan being able to be executed the way I wanted to. So it was like, all right, make a plan, expect the plan to go
But
off the
it kind
rails,
of
throw
don't
away the plan.
matter because at the end of the day, like I came to meet you, right? And so
Yeah.
you're standing there looking cute. It kind of don't matter. Like all the rest of the stuff that what you had in your head doesn't matter because we're here to just kind of, it's whatever. It's cute. We sitting here. The mountains is there. You know, it's the whole vibe. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the part I didn't understand. I was like, I don't understand like why it's such a thing. I just felt like in that moment you did everything right. There wasn't nothing different, you know, that you, what could you have done different? You just got there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it's any as much. I can say one thing I could have done differently. For the dancing, I was rehearsing pretty much with an imaginary person. Like it was me by myself in my living room, imagining what it would be like to rehearse with another
Yeah, but
individual.
you said you haven't did salsa dancing since you were how old?
Yeah, it was like 19. Yeah,
A
19
long
years.
time ago.
Yeah. I don't
Just
really think
leave
it
that
over.
off the table. Next time, just leave that off. Don't do that
Oh
one.
no, just make sure you rehearse more with a living person next time. Well, me, not you. I.
Okay, so the living situation. You get there, there's people there, and that's weird now because you have to like figure out your energy, not just with the person that you came here to meet, but with all this other energy going
That
on.
wasn't so weird for
No?
me. Nah, it's basically like being at grandma's house in the summertime. It's you and all your cousins. You got the cousins you vibe with. You got the cousins where it's like, but I guess because we related somehow.
Okay, so you went to your cousin's house and you're meeting your cousin for the first time. And then all of a sudden, while you're sleeping, one of your cousins punches the other one in the neck, and then they're screaming. And you get up and you go, what? Come get me. I don't want to spend the night over here anymore.
I don't think that would have even been me in a real cousin situation. I'm
So,
trying.
cousins, you grew up in Chicago, like spending the night with your cousins and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, because all of our parents like had kids young. It was like I call us like a whole litter. It was like 10 of us about the same age. We'll either be at my granny house a whole lot. Actually, my granny and my great aunt lived in Roseland, so it'll be my granny house or my great aunt's house, and
I feel like
that's be
that's a
where we at.
Midwest thing too. I feel like because we were just talking about that. That's how I grew up. My kids are Florida kids. They did not grow up like that. The
My
cousins are
son don't
not
know
that.
nothing about that.
No. So then maybe it's a generational thing then.
It could be, but yeah, that's definitely how it was. I loved it too. It was fun.
Yeah. I'm sad that they don't have that. We got to figure out how to bring that back. I don't know. We got to figure out how to bring that back.
We got to have enough cousins first. Everybody ain't.
Well, there's that. Well, you have extended family, I guess, but that's not the same. That's why it's different.
Yeah.
Besides Jody, who did you connect with mostly in the house?
Who do I connect with mostly in the house? Try to guess first.
Greg.
Me and Greg are cool. Actually, I was talking to him on the phone yesterday, but no. My strongest connection, second to Jody, would actually be Chris. Chris was my roommate while I was there.
I figured you were going to say that, but I was going to say no. Like, but now that you say you like Drake, I guess I get why Chris would be the person that you connect with in the house.
Who also likes
Aaron,
Drake.
I'm so concerned. No, Greg is the better friend. Maybe not. I don't know.
No, I
I
love
can
them
see
both,
that
but
though.
we roomed together, so we
I
having
can see
heart to
that.
heart. We chopped it up about our lives. He had an 8-year relationship before this. I had an 8-year relationship before this. We had a lot to talk about for real. We both into
Yeah.
fitness.
I mean, how old are you?
Now 29.
Okay. So you and him, were you the youngest in the house?
Either me or Sandia. We were both 27. I don't know whose birthday is first, but
Okay, yeah. So you and Cynthia and then Chris. I mean, that makes sense. And you know what's funny with all the drama surrounded around, the lovely Diamond and her, Bishop. I felt like y'all got along. Like I kept seeing like from what we could see, like y'all interacting with each other. And I was like, seems like the only people that have an issue with it are the people outside of the group. You and Chris were cool. You know, I kept seeing conversations between the four of you. So that doesn't surprise me, you know, that you and him would connect, because I think like I always seen you. Who else were you going to connect with? Greg was trying to connect with Millie. He wasn't really trying to be bothered with y'all, I'm guessing.
No, Greg, he had a good little split. So like, absolutely, he was in pursuit of his woman. He was on that. Greg loved him some Millie.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also, there's plenty of times like where we'll all just be chopping it up, or all the guys will be in the room speaking about something aside from that one episode. Like there's plenty of occasions where we'll bond in different ways, but what happens, I feel like whoever you bonded with the most is just whoever you hung around the most.
So, but the house seemed plenty big enough where y'all had spaces to go, like, you know what I'm saying? Not be around each other. No?
I guess, like, if you go to your room, but like,
Yeah, but how many people were in the room? Y'all were all in the room together. Like once what's
the
his
girls
name?
were.
Brandon and Sienna got the boot, then y'all could spread out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because people were gone.
And it was like, I think it was like 4 bedrooms. So like, if I go to my room, the only people who would usually be in my room is me, Chris, Sandy, and Jody, for real. So
okay,
if I go in there, typically, if the 3 of them may not even be there, I would go there sometimes just to read, just to meditate, take a nap.
how long were you there in the house?
I feel like about a month.
Holy moly, that's a long time. That's a long time. I'm just
might have been
saying.
shorter. It might have been shorter, but close to
So
that,
y'all
I'm sure.
are in the house for a month and you like constantly probably trying to figure out things to do. You can't go anywhere. You're not like, because we've only seen you go on 2 dates.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not as figure out things to do as you think. So we're in the house. We played a bunch of games together. Like I don't want to get too deep into things that they didn't specifically edit into the show, because I don't want to
right
do anything that's gonna take up nerves. But there was plenty to do. Honestly,
there was
like,
stuff to do.
My motto is, if you need an external stimulus to have fun, you're probably not as fun of a person as you think you are.
I don't think you necessarily need an external stimulus, but I feel like if you're in a house with people that you don't really know, you know what I'm saying? And then you got to figure out, okay, there's your person, but they're in the house. So you have to like connect with someone, you know what I'm
you're
saying?
interacting with somebody at some point.
Right. So at some point, but that's not, I get why that's not part of the show. But I'm also like, if you've got people in the house, I don't do good with energy that don't match my energy. But I'm not a pop off. I just like disconnect and dismiss myself. You know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, dissociate from people. Like, honestly, that I'm a similar way.
That
I
ain't
guess,
fun
like,
to watch though. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to see me going, yeah, I'm good on all of that. And you know what I'm saying?
Actually, in a group, that is fun to watch, because now they're gonna follow you. Look at her, better than everybody else. Like,
then she thinks she's better. She thinks she's better than everyone because, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a creative energy. I don't know nothing about it. I only see it like from the backside. I've never been a part of anything like that. Who did all the cooking?
Everybody. We took turns. So
who was the best cook?
Truthfully, Jody was actually the best cook in the house. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know any of them. So I can't say. I think that's a big deal.
Damn.
She's a good cook then.
She's an amazing cook.
What about Brandon? He seemed like he was, trying to be, Chef Boyardee over there.
Brandon is quite the cultural individual. Like, Brandon's food was cool. I think that was like the first dinner I ate at the house. There was one dinner before that I didn't participate in just because I wasn't hungry. But Brandon's was the first one I ate. His was good. And I don't know if
Jody wins the award for the best cook.
Easily.
I ain't mad at it. They should have showed more food. I think we would have liked that. I think we generally like to see food. They should have showed us
They low
more
key
food.
should have, because the way everything looked when it first got prepared was bust.
Yeah, I would have been into that. I don't know why. So your dad came to visit, and that was, like I said, one of my favorite episodes. I feel like every show that we watch, there's always a story about a guy whose dad wasn't a part of his life, and which unfortunately is a very common thing. And then for you to have your dad show up, and I was like, who's gonna give you better advice than your father? So I really like that. And then I think you were like so excited to see him come.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so you said you and your dad are really close. Can you tell me a little bit about your relationship?
Yeah. Parents were not the greatest couple.
Okay.
Great people, not great together. That said, I had to
Were they
develop my
young?
relationship.
They were a young couple?
Very.
Okay.
Yeah, and because of that, I had to develop my relationships with them individually and try and not take on the narratives and personas they had of each other, which in itself was a task or a toll. I think I liked him when I was a little kid because he was fun and he always bought me everything. So it was like, all right, cool, what's up? And then when I got older, like a teenager, he became a pivotal part of my life because my mom and I were starting to butt heads more. As I'm growing
Why
to a
is that?
man.
Why were y'all butting heads? Were you being rebellious? You
You know
were
what's
in
crazy?
Chicago, so I can imagine that, as a single mom, you're probably struggling with the streets and your child at the same time, trying to keep control of that.
Man, I was actually a really good kid for the most part.
Well, I
Like
don't
I
mean
didn't,
that,
I
but I
didn't.
mean like sometimes when you're, because I have a son older than you, and
Mhm.
so I think sometimes when children like get to that age, that teenage, and there's not a father in the house, there's this struggle. Because I feel like my son was a good kid too, but you
Mhm.
struggling with the outside, trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's power
It
struggle.
it could be a level of that. It could be a level of that. So yeah, having dad lived on like the opposite side of the city, but like I would just go to his house. Like I was
Hang
often
out
just
and have fun.
like it wasn't even fun anymore. At that point, it was development.
Yeah.
Fun was more so like early childhood, but then it's like, okay, learning certain lessons. Like I watched him through my stepmother's pregnancy, and that taught me how I should be during my ex's pregnancy because
Mm-hmm.
there was nothing my dad would not do for that woman while she had my younger brother in her stomach. Like easiest pregnant. I didn't see that many pregnancies. I've only seen like 2 or 3 from women close to me. But one of the easiest pregnancies ever. So I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. Like, so
Okay.
setting examples, but also traversing what it meant to be a man at that time. Deep conversations, exercising, watching. I will copy that. I won't copy that.
Well, I mean, but that's a blessing because like I said, a lot of people, a lot of children are missing that.
Yeah, it is one I don't take for granted. One of my friends actually had to humble me one day. Because like I said in the comments with Neek, like I really was in the city, like for real. And so one of my guys was like, hey, yo, it's certain things you can't talk about, bro, because your dad in your life, we don't got our dad. Like, and I had to remember that, like, out of my friend group, everybody, maybe like half of us had dads, half of us didn't. It's like, especially you, Aaron, because you at your dad crib all the time. Like, shut up. Like, it was like, all right, cool. Stay in my place.
Well, I mean, even if it's like not your dad, I think it's having positive people around. You know what I'm saying? That your influence, or
Yeah.
whoever it is you look up to, whether it be your uncle, your cousin, your big sister, you know what I'm saying? Having positive people. And I think not everybody has that. So, at some point when you're going back and forth with somebody, you like, they don't even have the same, we're just different. We're not, what do you say? They not like us? And I don't mean that like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's, a positive thing to have, both parents, both people positive, in your upbringing. I mean, you have a son that you taking care of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and part of his life.
Yeah, for sure. He downstairs playing with one of his friends right now. I don't know if you can hear it actually, but yeah.
No.
They loud to
How old
me.
is he?
7.
Okay. That's fun.
It's
That's a
a
fun
fun
I
age.
think.
He
It is.
it's playtime almost all the time, but it's summer vacation right now. So I can't say what it's like at his mom's house, but I know for me, he has to read, he has to give me a book report, he has to do math, and he has to exercise before he does anything in my house.
I think that's a fun age. I think they're very smart.
Extremely.
Yeah.
The way he absorbs and regurgitates information really throws me sometimes.
I mean, that's a good thing. Out of the mouths of babes, they say. You have to pay attention. So yeah, I really enjoyed like having your dad come over. So your dad got there and somebody decided to like give him a disclaimer about the person that you came to meet. And your dad said, "Oh, you're that guy." So what did you tell your father about the bishop before he got there?
I probably, any day they allow me to be able to do so, I called my son, I called my dad, I called my mom.
Okay.
And I told them everything that happened.
Everything that was going on.
Everything that happened.
That's
Anything
hilarious.
y'all see on TV, they're probably the only people in my life, at least, that have the uncut version, because I needed a release of some sort. It wasn't just gonna. But yeah, so I told them everything. Anything you see happen, my dad was aware of it before coming up there.
I mean, that was everything to me. And it was like you were sitting on the cabinet, like, yep, he knows everything. And you know, my daughter used to work at this bar, and the manager there would come over all the time and try to like talk to me as if he knew her better than I did. And it used to just piss me off so bad. So in that moment, I was watching your dad be all calm, and I was like, oh yeah, I would have let him have it. I'm sorry. Like, you know, can you back up just a little bit?
He was trying to behave. If Aaron would have made the wrong move, it would have been some TV. But he was trying to behave.
He did a good job. I think, you said you don't watch any of the, the reviews or any of that thing. You could watch mine.
I like yours. Because it's not like I've never watched any. My other castmates, because I'm in contact with a lot of them, will send me some sometimes. So it's not like I'm completely ignorant to their existence. I've like dabbled in a few. I don't listen to them all the way through if I don't like them.
There's a lot out there. I would say you would probably be consumed with it if you tried to, listen to everything that's out there. But that being said, I feel like us talking about it does a lot for people watching the show. You're an artist, so you got eyes on you. That's definitely not a bad thing to have happen. I also feel like with a lot of judgment, the show seems very much like real life to me. Like, I mean, I don't know what fantasy that people have in terms of what relationships are supposed to look like, but I think this is kind of what it looks like regular people doing, regular people stuff, except for the part where you go stay in a house with somebody. That part's different. You guys were only like talking to each other for like what, 9 months before you went over there and met each other?
Yeah.
What do you think about people that have been doing it for like 12 years, 6 years, 3 years? That's a long time to not meet someone.
I feel like that's a long time if you're thinking about it like, oh, you're just involved with this person. Like, but also outside of romantic goals, you have your actual life that you're trying to get through. Especially like if someone is ambitious, is trying to actually reach a certain status or get somewhere. So yeah, you could be talking to somebody for a long time and it could take a minute to meet them. But at the same time, it's less about how long you waited and more about when you finally get to that point, what is it going to be like between you? Like
12 years, I feel like that is the relationship. And I mean, I'm not judging based on anything except for you fall into like patterns of comfort, and 12 years is a long time to be settled in to now rearrange it into something different. Relationships are hard.
Relationships are hard.
You were in one for 8 years with a child. So now you have even more reason to try to, 8 years, like I feel like that's a long time to try to work it out. And it seems like y'all have figured it out still, you know what I'm saying? Without having to be in a relationship with one another. Y'all were babies in college. So, you know. I just think that's a long time to be, trying to figure it out online. So, but the way you say it, like, you have this relationship that's it for whatever reason. When you go over there to meet your person, is it supposed to be romantic, or is it just to see like how are we when we meet each other for real? Like, what was in your head when you went over there to meet Jody?
What was in my head? I was nervous. I was anxious.
I mean, in long term, like, I'm going to meet this person. Had y'all talked about it beyond let's just go over there and see what it's like? Or, what is the relationship in long term supposed to be?
It's a great question. I don't think I had thought it out past what I said in the hot seat early. I was serious about like the multiple businesses and taking trips. And beyond, being able to do a whole bunch of creative things together and a few ventures, I hadn't really conceived it. She's the polar opposite.
To me, that sounds like friendship. And I felt like, because I'm a stand in my shit. Like, I felt like I was very hard on Jody because it just seemed like but because it just seemed like she wasn't being nice. Regardless to because I felt like if I came over there and you were my friend and I said, we'll see what happens. But if I'm not feeling it like in a romantic way, I would rather say that so we can continue the friendship when it's clear you're thinking something different. You were intoxicated. That's what you said. I'm just saying. So, but if you're looking at it like what you said, like, so for you, what is marriage? Like, y'all talked about marriage being a business. Like,
well, I'm so happy you brought that up. So actually, I was serious when I said I agree with her on the show. And that actually is something that pissed off my previous partner, that I did feel that way. Because the two of them were like polar opposites in the way they behaved.
Probably had a different vision of what her future was going to be, married and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, what you mean marriage is business? But I really do view marriage. And I think you said that you agree to that extent. But you're also not in the business of marriage. Is that right?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And but I'm in a relationship and I've been in, 2 very long relationships. So
there has to be, something there first. I feel
like, though, like if you're talking about just business, you could go into just business with anyone. What I said was marriage is a business. I think love is a necessary part of the foundation. You know what I'm saying? The business of marriage. If you can make it make sense, then I wouldn't be against it. But for me to say, because I love you, I don't think that's a good enough reason, you know what I'm saying, to get married.
I can agree with that.
But I think that's different than get married for if you just want to do business with someone, you can just do business with someone. Why are we getting married?
I think it was presented poorly because neither one of us disagreed that amorous emotions would need to be involved on some level for marriage to be the type of business you go into.
Okay.
However, what we were saying was actually to the extent of what you just, and I wouldn't say repeated because I don't know that it was received that way from us before, but just saying I love you or just having feelings for you is not.
That ain't enough.
Enough to be married.
Okay. And I mean, that part I agree with.
That's TV.
Yeah. But that's why I say, relationships are hard. And I think it's unrealistic for you. And I think for Chris and Sadia, God, what's her name? Every single time. Sandia. Okay. Y'all had only been communicating for a few months. You know what I'm saying? Even with Greg and Millie, who were in the same city and hadn't met for 3 years. I think that's a long time to get comfortable. And then, and everybody is like a big fan of them. I will say and this is stuff that they both talked about, both Jody and Millie, that the things that they went through were very heavy, far too heavy for, you know what I'm saying, to not be dealt with before you try to enter into any type of romantic relationship.
That's fair to say, but I do want to point out that within our community in general, for a long time, being able to get help to grow mentally, getting a therapist, something like that, was stigmatized. And then after a short period of it not being so stigmatized anymore, everybody's like, oh, therapy is a buzzword. And a lot of people are going to it, but everybody is going to it. Even people who can afford it. A lot of people think, oh, I've handled it in my head, and it's only when a certain situation is presented that triggers an old mental or spiritual wound. It's like, okay, maybe I have it. So it's at
I
that
mean,
point that's
I
like,
don't think
okay,
therapy is a fix for anything. I think you always got to be working through it. But
yeah,
I
you always
think
have to do it.
even like going through this experience and sitting in front of a therapist, like is an opportunity that, like you said, many people won't ever have that opportunity. But being in that, given that opportunity and being able to expose, like, I think that's big. You know what I'm saying? Coming out in the public and exposing those things about yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Because people over here talking all kinds of smack. Um, I just think if those are the things that you're dealing with that are extremely heavy, it's not the same thing as I was in an 8-year relationship with my son's mother, and it didn't work out. And now I'm trying to figure out like what's the next step. That stuff that they were dealing with is very heavy to then go into a relationship with someone you're not equipped to handle those things. Besides being a good friend and a listening ear, I could see where that would create a bond with someone. And then, after she exposed that, I could see where you were very careful with her. And I was like, okay, so now I see, because of the intimate conversations that they've had, outside of the public, when she exposed that, I was like, I don't even feel like she needed to tell those people that, because, you know what I mean? I guess based on who she was saying it to, I was like, now she feel like she got to say, what her traumas are to make everybody feel more comfortable about,
I
y'all's
mean,
relationship.
I know she definitely didn't want to express that for sure. It wasn't something that she wanted to have to come out. It felt like, I think not for the people, not for the audience. I think it felt like a necessity just as a conversation to have
So
between
they'll
us.
back off and let her, you know what I'm saying? Because it seemed like a
Yeah.
lot of pressure in that. One thing I will say, like, that had me so angry, and when I go in, I go in. I don't start. It has nothing to do with you. This is all
It's
me
cool.
over
It's
here
cool.
talking
Say it.
shit. But the bishop in the Lovely Diamond, when I saw him put his finger in her face like that, I was so uncomfortable with it. And then the way he handled it, I was like, he came back and said something crazy like, now I just showed Diamond I'm a real man. And I was like, no, I saw that in you, the way you like calmly like stood up and told him to like relax yourself. But I was like, what exactly was so important that he needed to handle himself that way? And I have an opinion about how Jody's behavior was, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And I was like, what is happening right now?
No, one, no one except maybe Diamond loved how that went down. As a matter of fact, it became a recurring joke around the house later on. Um, I actually really hated the way that scene looked on television. That's one of 3 scenes where what happened in my experience in real life wasn't synonymous with what everybody else got to see. More or less, I guess it was a summarization. Because granted, they only have 42 minutes to put everything in. But it was just like, all
Right.
right, more happen. But
So you
I
tell
think
us, because we saw it how we saw it.
what I'll say is what you did see as far as me standing up being calm, that part is true. No one in that house made me lose my composure. The only
Right.
person who probably could have was the person I was dating. But aside from that moment with the drink, nothing really popped off. Um, what I'll say is I've never in my life stood there and let anyone say anything to anyone whom I'm close to, especially whom I'm dating, and just let them say their piece. That's not how I live. However, at the end of the day, it's going to look how it looks. But I said more than what was shown.
Well, I mean, I just didn't appreciate. I felt like very proud, you know what I'm saying, to see you handle it that way, because you didn't like pop off and jump, kind of the same way your dad handled him. Like, clearly, I felt like the read was, oh, you're that guy. And if you didn't hear it, I mean, maybe you could go sit down somewhere and hear it. And then I think there was a lot of judgment of him by not, I don't know what he was supposed to tell you about Jody in that relationship in that moment, because how long was it? You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like that interaction was enough for him to assess anything about your relationship. You know what I'm saying? Besides,
Yeah.
hi, nice to meet you type situation. But as far as he is concerned, though, I just feel like there's a lot of explaining going on. I feel like on a regular basis about how his behavior, wasn't what it looked like. But I was like, I just felt like, in that moment, you handled yourself in a way that you should be proud of, because he was standing there looking a fool with his finger in that little girl's face. She was looking at him like, what the hell is going on? And you just kind of de-escalated the situation because, it was so unnecessary. And you're right, Diamond got a big kick out of it. So I think you just from the outside looking in, I feel like, we don't know. We only can go by what we see. A lot of my judgment comes from what people say after the fact, like when they go do these interviews, like you say here and there.
Mhm.
That's where a lot of my judgment comes from. But not everybody is talking. So most of y'all are not talking. So we can only go by, what we see. And I think everybody just wanted you to have somebody like, that's going to be nicer. That's all I can say. I mean, that's your friend, and I'm not going to talk bad about her, but that's just where we were at with it.
I wish they showed some of her sweet moments because they were there.
Well, I feel like, there's a
she has her
character that
abrasive
everybody
side.
needs to play. You know what I'm saying? Like when you do talking about production and things, they already have it mapped out. I think what y'all don't realize that we see that. We can see that.
But yeah, she has her abrasive side. But yeah, there's multiple layers to her.
Well, I mean, you know her though. We don't have
That's
that
true.
luxury.
That is true.
We don't have that luxury.
It's more of a viewing standpoint. Like, yeah, we saw that.
So your son, what is the hardest part about being a dad? 2024.
I think it's a toss-up. One of the two is co-parenting itself, because for however long, I have to make sure that there is a respectful schedule between his mother and I that does not negatively affect him, doesn't negatively affect me, doesn't negatively affect her. And being able to traverse that while still trying to be an individual is a tightrope of sorts to be able to cross. Beyond that, though, I have a lot of ambitions that I'm pursuing. Like, yes, I do music. I mentioned in the first episode, I like to write scripts. I like to produce different things. So I have like 2 mini series that I'm working on. Nice. When I shoot those, he's on set with me. When I go to the studio, he's with me. Like, I take him everywhere. That's age appropriate. And it's just, when I'm there, I try and make sure, whether it's me interacting with other people or whatever else, I try and make sure I set the most grand example possible, which means that even in certain moments where I would have reacted a certain way, it's always a moment where I have to grow if I feel some type of lesser version of myself or negative influence that's coming up as well.
I feel like it says a lot about how you feel about his mother, that you respect that. Everybody has to be in a healthy space in their own life in order for him to, grow up in a healthy environment. That's not, I hate to say it like that, but I feel like we just don't hear enough of that. I don't want to say it's rare, but we don't see that. We don't really, and I think, that's by design. I won't get too far into that, but, it's 2024. It's about to be an election, not to get political, but how does that make you feel like as a father? Like, does that make you worried for your young Black son growing up in this environment? You live in Georgia. I live in Florida, so, but it's not, what I'm saying? So it's different.
I don't know. When it comes to the election, it's difficult to speak on because on the one hand, I don't look at presidential elections as some isolated grand event like everyone else does. Because the thing is, if Biden wins, he's still at the mercy of the legislative branch. You're not going to get certain laws passed, whether negative or positive, without getting past them. If Trump wins, he is not hamstrung by that same thing. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing because I don't know what he has planned, but he's not hamstrung by that same thing because he is quick to push out an executive order like, oh yeah, we're doing this. I don't care what y'all say. And it's over with. What I think about when it comes to my son is more so how it affects his immediate environment, such as the educational system, what he is and isn't allowed to do. In my house, I try and give him a safe space to be able to do what he pleases after he does what he's supposed to do, whatever he wants. But also, I don't like certain things about the schooling system already currently. So I take a lot of his education in my own hands on the side. And I don't
feel
think
like
that there's
that's
enough.
all like based on laws and those kind of things, which is very important. But I'm talking about the climate, because I know at my big old age, like all of a sudden you have to worry about, like, I could say, I want to go take my family to the beach this weekend. You know what I'm saying? But then I got to be like, okay, how they going to be acting over there? Which beach am I going to? You know what I'm saying? So as a Black father, yeah, I think, do you get involved? You know, at least you have the knowledge of, you know, what's going on and, you know, how your legislative, you know, system is going to work. I don't know that everybody has that. That's really important because the school systems, you know, down here are very much trash.
Yeah, agreed.
And so like with the music, I feel like, is there a shift in that in education? Because like you guys, you said you're 29, it's all on y'all.
Yeah.
To make the change, you know, for what's to come.
Yeah, it's true. It's in the hands of current adults. I'm a part of actually a socio-political organization that specifically strives to either fight against certain laws or push other ones. And that's something I often think about when I'm doing my work with them, is raising awareness or being able to go to DC and speak with different political figures.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very dope. What's the best part about being a dad?
Best part about being a dad, I get to still be a kid.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, we play all the time. Well, not all the time.
I gotta play.
I'm tired. Tomorrow. But like Star Wars fights, water gun fights, indoor snowball fights. I'll explain that at another time. But literally, video games like it, and it's like
I
I'll
was
see
gonna
something.
say, I see you like I'm the only person in my house that's not into like anime. So there's like a whole nother language that goes on that I don't really involve
that's
myself
my world.
in. But so is your son into it too?
He is heavily. I'm happy he is because man, if he wasn't, I was gonna be like, dang, excuse me.
I'm telling you, it's like being a part of a family that, you know, speaks a different language and I don't know what anybody is talking about. It's like there's always like these private jokes going around that I don't know the, you know, the punchline to.
We don't always like the same ones, though. Also, that's another thing. He'll like something, I'm like, that baby show. But yeah, he loves anime.
He's like in the middle still.
He is. So it fits. I like that he likes some age appropriate anime for sure. But yeah, I'll be like, and I'll watch it with him in the back of my head. I'm like, I hate this so much.
Yeah, I don't listen. My son grew up on Nickelodeon. I'm still like dealing with the fact that I let my children watch Nickelodeon, not knowing what was going on after I watched that documentary. If you haven't seen it, then you should check that out.
How could you know though?
I don't know.
Like,
I feel like I was like, I'm a bad mom. What was going on in there? And you sending your kids to go watch, you know, Nickelodeon. So
and it is like they recalled certain jokes, and I'm seeing them as they are in the documentary. It's like, wow, I did not see that. That's not how it looked to me before.
Yeah, that's not how it looked before. Yeah. So after doing the show, what would you say is the biggest misconception about Aaron? Because, you know, we judging on very little.
Biggest misconception?
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say I'm passive, but I think the biggest one here is, you know, there was a strong attack on the earrings. They didn't know which side I swung to when I first got there. I did not see that coming.
Listen, I like to feel like I'm like way cooler than most people my age and a lot more open-minded than people my age. And I have a 24-year-old daughter. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they keep me, I have a 24-year-old, I got an 18-year-old, and then my son is old. But you know, older than all y'all. But I feel like they keep me in the loop of what's, you know, what's cool, what's not cool, or what's current and what's not current. And I feel like most of your criticism came from people my age. I was really embarrassed by the old folks that couldn't get past the earring, you know what I'm saying? Do you deal with that a lot?
In person?
Or just in general? Or that's the first
Never.
time that was
That was the
an
first for me. I had never, but what I will say, while it's not something I've dealt with in person, never really heard any complaints or anything like that. Apparently, when I got to the house, there were also conversations. I don't want to say behind my back, however, I wasn't present in the room where it was like, well, what's up with him? So I guess on some level, that would count as dealing with it in person. But beyond that, no, like people who know me just know, like, oh yeah, he just be wearing those, like, which is funny because I actually never wear those anymore.
But I'm saying in the house, you said conversations went on behind your back about, which direction. I hate the conversation, honestly. But is that something that you run across and you feel like you have to deal with that? Because I feel like the immaturity comes from the old folks, not so much from the young people.
I don't think I care really.
Good answer.
When it comes to that, I got my own thing going on. Either you're gonna vibe with it or not.
Love that. Last question. This is a very important question.
I'm listening.
Did the people get nasty down there in the hallway where the cameras had a blind spot and, couldn't see what was going on?
I was asleep. But from what I hear from both sides, nothing happened in that hall.
Doesn't surprise me. Me.
Yeah. I've heard both sides of the story because, like I said, I keep up with most of the people from the show. Nothing actually happened in that hall.
I mean, it was all salacious and everything. I just wanted to know, like, was there a blind spot? And how much can you really do in the hallway?
I feel like there was a blind spot, though, because we didn't see them. There's no footage that they show, so maybe there was a blind spot. That's all we got, for real. But the mystery continues. Right. So, I don't know. I trust my boy. Me and Alexis ain't got no beef, but yeah, I haven't heard anything happening there for sure.
Well, Aaron, thank you so much. This means a lot that you came over here to talk to me. No, hopefully I wasn't too scary.
Not at all. It was a pleasure to speak with you. Honestly, I was flattered. So
thank you so much. Well, I'll be tuned in next week. And I saw you running around with your booty hanging out like this yesterday.
Man, here's my issue. Why does the mic make it look like I got on a sumo diaper or something?
I don't know what you were wearing.
That was the microphone.
It was Greg's birthday, and you were the one running around in your birthday suit.
You know what I'm saying? As an Aries, I had to take the celebration into my own hands. His party became my party.
Y'all's party got freaky. Y'all started grinding and bumping and grinding, and I was like, I'm with the bishop and the lovely diamond. I'm gonna have to leave y'all to it and be up.
I think that's a mature response. Personally, that's how parties go to me.
I mean, if I was 27, I might have a different answer, but I ain't. So that's what I said. Thank you so much, Aaron. I hope we get a chance to talk again. And I'm gonna be listening because I think, me and my daughter was listening and she said your shit was fire. So we gonna go ahead and keep listening. You know what? So I don't know like who your photographer is, and this is where I'm gonna end it. But somewhere you better get those wings again and get a good picture of yourself with those wings on. There's just, I don't know if there's more. But I need like a good black and white. Send me a picture of you and the wings. I'll hook it up and then, we'll get you something together.
I might break them back out. I got you.
Bring the wings back. All right then, Aaron.
Be blessed.
Peace.
They think I'm suburban cause a nigga speaking properly. I'm from Roseland in the hundreds, ho, so it ain't soft with me. Not the type to lose it cause of how most people talk to me. But hands are staying ready if the wrong one try to walk to me.